Hey everybody, this is Tom, otherwise known as Scary Spikes, and welcome to another Star Citizen video. Today we'll be talking about the Freelancer MISC, the military and missile variant of the famous Freelancer ships. There are a few other ones available, but I already did a video on the original Freelancer, so make sure to go ahead and check that out at the top right hand corner of your screen if you haven't seen that already. Before we get started, just a very quick and special shout out to Vent. He's one of our Twitch subscribers at tier 3 as well as a VIP gold contributor. Vent, thank you so very much for helping to support me and my family, as well as of course this community here on YouTube, Twitch, and Discord. Speaking of which, you can also join us on stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 PM Eastern on Twitch. And of course, join us in our amazing, wonderful Discord community full of amazing people waiting to meet, chat, and play with you. Links for those can be found in the description below. If you'd like to further help support me, the absolute best way to do so is to visit sspgaming.com. I make all the merch myself, and it really helps me to do what I do, as I get 100% of your contributions, and you get something really cool and unique in return. If you enjoy this video and it's helpful to you, remember to show me that you like it by leaving a like, as well as subscribing if you're new, and ringing the bell so that you never miss a video in the future. Thank you so very much for all of your amazing support, and let's get started with this video. As previously mentioned, the Freelancer MISC is the gunship variant of the Freelancer line. It is armed with quite a number of decent guns for the captain, as well as a shooter in the back on the turret, and of course a plethora of missiles as well. We're going to take a look at the outside of the ship first, followed by an interior tour, and then we'll have a look at my recommendations as well as the stock loadout for the ship. All of the links for Urkel can be found in the description below. Let's get started. At the front of the ship here, we can see that we have a very wide canopy. Unfortunately, it's not too high. It is very wide, so it gives you a nice view from left to right, but unfortunately, the viewport is quite narrow vertically, so it becomes a little bit difficult to see, and that's one of my gripes with most of the other Freelancer ships as well. By the way, if you haven't seen that video, make sure to check it out in the top right hand corner of the screen. It's my guide on the original Freelancer. Moving on though, we have two size 3 weapons here on the side of the ship. Those are pilot controlled. Moving to the wing here on the port side, we see that there are 4 total size 3 missiles available. On the back of the ship, we can see that we have the 2 main thrusters mounted on the insides of the wings. And of course, we have our nice big ramp, as most other Freelancers do. On the starboard side of the ship, we also have another 4 missiles hanging off of the wing, and you're probably wondering where the rest of them are, as this boat can handle 28 missiles at size 3 at any given time. Well, those are held on the inside of the ship and ejected through the proprietary missile racks on the very top of its hull. Around the other side here, we can also see another pair of size 3 weapons. Again, these are pilot controlled. And of course, we have 2 landing gear, 1 under each wing, and 1 central one here under the main hull. I'm not sure what these 2 are for, by the way, so if you'd like to let me know if you have any idea, please do so in the comments below. Let's have an interior look at the ship, starting from the rear and moving to the front. So moving from the rear of the ship forwards, we can see that we have a nice cargo bay, and this ship, despite being the military gunship variant of the Freelancer lineup, can still haul an impressive 36 SCU. That's pretty good if you want to do mostly bounty hunting and dabble in a little bit of trading as well. There's plenty of space in here for a small vehicle like a PTV as well, or maybe 2 of them, so you can use this ship whichever way you please, based on a number of different kinds of playstyles that you may have. This is the missile room here, and this is where the majority of the missiles are stored. Of course, they're stored internally, unlike the Andromeda, which, if you haven't seen that video, by the way, I'd very much recommend it, as it is a very similar ship to this. It is also classified as a gunship and has a record number of missiles on board, as well as some nice pilot-controlled weapons, and of course, some nice turrets as well. But I digress. Let's move forward into the rest of the ship and have a look at what is here. Looks like we have some more cargo space here. Again, a total of 36 SCU. We have a hatch for ship-to-ship or ship-to-station docking, which does not include the Freelancer yet, but might eventually at some point in the future. It's also a nice way to be able to get into the ship from outside if you happen to be EVAing in. Moving in to the front of the ship here, we can see that we have a side door. This has a ladder which allows you to exit the ship from the port side. Of course, you can close this door here as well if you'd like. And then we have the bunks as well as the escape pods and some basic crew amenities here in the back. So this first door here is going to be our washroom. It's a pretty small one. We've got a little first aid kit there, as well as presumably a toilet in there, which doesn't come out, a sink, and what looks like maybe a mirror, which continues to prove that yes, I have not yet turned from a vampire to something else. I continue to be a vampire because I can't see myself in any of the ship's mirrors. Moving on, we can see that we have a shower here as well as a nice light in the top, and we do also have a panel on the inside that can close this door. It is a little bit tight, but at least it allows you to do what you need to do in relative privacy. It allows you to close the door behind you. On the other side, we have what looks like a galley with some room for a few different amenities here, including some towels and things like that. And it looks like we also have possibly maybe an oven and a drink maker here, and also it looks like some glasses here at the bottom, which looks like maybe a small refrigeration unit. Moving forward, we can see that at the front of the crew rest area, we have a number of bunks. There's 4 of them in total, and as you can see here, just like on the Freelancer lineup, you can expect that these will double as escape pods. These can sleep 1 person comfortably or 2 people slightly less comfortably. Giggity. Also, I'm really looking forward to seeing when this feature becomes implemented, because I'd really like to see how it works, and leave me your thoughts on how you think it's going to work in the comments. Having a look at the cockpit, there's definitely a few things to talk about here. First of all, there's quite a lot of space, including these eyebrow windows here that remind me a little bit of the older 737 planes, as well as a very nice viewport out the front, which allows you for a very, very nice view left to right. Unfortunately, it is very limited vertically, which makes it harder to see things. That being said, there are 2 engineer panels here in the back, each with 1 MFD, and if we move up, we can see that there are a number of MFDs available for the pilot and co-pilot respectively. For the pilot, we have 2 MFDs that are integrated into the dash, of course the yoke and the rudder pedals down below, as well as some switches on the left and right hand side. We also have 2 electronic MFDs, and then we also have a radar. Over on the co-pilot side, we have 2 MFDs that again are integrated into the dash. We have 2 more integrated into an electronic hologram, and then we have a main electronic hologram MFD in the middle that helps to allow the co-pilot to assist the pilot in managing different systems like shields and power. Finally, let's talk about my recommendations on outfitting your ship. You'll want to go into the vehicle loadout manager. As you can see here in the mobiGlas, it'll be your second tab on the bottom. On the top right hand corner, go ahead and click on the drop down list and select your Freelancer MISC, and then simply follow along or check the links in the description below. That will lead you to the stock as well as my recommended loadout on Oracle.games. You can also change your loadout. Again, these are just my recommendations, so take them with a grain of salt. This is what I believe to be the best at the moment, at least for my playstyle. You might want to change this around if you want to try something new, or if it doesn't suit your playstyle, so experiment until you find something that you like. We're going to go ahead and start off with propulsion here, and with propulsion there are a few choices. Mine is going to be the XL1. And the reason for this is because it is a grade A military, and also because it happens to be the fastest in a long straight line. I usually take very long trips with my Freelancer MISC, and so this gets me there very quickly at the expense of quicker burn of fuel. If you want something that's much faster in a shorter distance, then you'll definitely want to go with the Spicule. Yes, it is stealth, but it is still grade A, and it has some of the fastest acceleration of all of the QT drives available, as long as you're not going too far. That means between certain moons of the same subsystem, or perhaps between a planet and various moons in that planet's subsystem. If you are going long range and you're looking to save as much fuel as possible, then you'll want to go with the crossfield. It's going to be at the expense of time, unfortunately, because it'll take you quite a lot longer to get there, but you won't have as big of a fuel bill when you arrive. And in my opinion, I would go with the XL1, so that's what I'm going to stick with here. Moving along to the systems, we have a variety of different systems to choose from, including 2 coolers, 1 power plant, and 2 shield generators. Let's start with the coolers. So the Avalanche is not too bad, and you know, military grade A is not always the best. I think I should definitely make that a note of that, especially since there are different modules that would be available for different people based on their playstyles and be better for them in that situation than something that you would just recommend overall. That being said, the Avalanches are quite decent. I would actually just replace these with snowpacks for a little bit better cooling. But the snowpacks are very, very expensive and they might not be accessible to everyone. And so as a result of that, I would recommend the snowpacks. They are also grade A in military and do a very good job. Or rather the Avalanches. The snowpacks are the same grade A, but they are industrial class. So a little bit of a difference there, but these will do just fine. Moving on to the power plant, and if you've seen any of my previous videos, then you'll definitely know that this should not be a surprise whatsoever. The JS400 is honestly one of the best power plants around. It is very efficient, it delivers more than enough power for what you need, even in a situation where your ship may only have one of them, and I would wholeheartedly recommend getting this for most general purpose applications. Moving over to the shields, now this is where we get a little bit more interesting. Generally speaking, if you don't have the Securons as I do here, I would recommend one Rampart and one FR-76, or in some cases, if you're doing a lot of battling and you're getting attacked by a lot of smaller ships, maybe two FR-76s would work. In my opinion though, the absolute best shield in the game is the Sakuron, and the only way to get the Sakuron is unfortunately you have to buy another ship in the game and strip it of its shields so that you can put it on one of your other ships. That ship would be the Asperia Prowler. Now, these are really, really good for a few reasons. First of all, they have some of the biggest shield pools from all shields in the game, which automatically make them really, really good, but also they absorb 100% of ballistic fire. What does that mean? Well, it doesn't mean that you don't take any damage from ballistic fire. Quite the contrary. You do still take damage from ballistic fire, but it gets completely absorbed by your shields, meaning that your hull no longer is penetrated by ballistic fire, because as long as your shields are holding, they will absorb 100% of ballistic fire. When the shields are down, that is when you would start taking hull damage from ballistic fire. So this is really, really good, considering that especially with bounty hunting, a lot of people like using ballistic weapons, and a lot of bounty hunting mission ships like the NPCs also tend to use quite a lot. Like for example, the Valkyrie, it's pretty much completely decked out in ballistic weapons. So these are really, really good for those reasons, and I would strongly recommend getting yourself a Prowler if you can afford to do so in game, or perhaps maybe you've pledged one in the recent Invictus week. If you do not have access to these, then I would definitely recommend going with the Rampart for the shield pool and the FR-76 for the regen. Or if you're attacked by a lot of smaller ships more often than not, then go with the two FR-76s and you should be fine. Moving on to weaponry, and there's going to be a few different options here, starting with the missile racks. Now for missile racks, of course, this ship does have its own proprietary missile racks, as well as we've discussed. They can be found on the very top of the ship, and for some reason the model is kind of glitching out here, but they'll be found on the top of the ship. But you can also attach missile racks to the wings, as we saw previously. So we have space for up to 4 size 3 missiles on each wing, and in my opinion the size 3 missiles are honestly really, really good. So I would go with the MSD 423s all around. If you don't know what the 423 means, or just want to get more information about all the different components, make sure to go watch my Understanding Ship Components guide, as it will explain everything that you need to know to you so that you can make a more educated decision. And moving on to the actual weapons of the ship, this is going to be quite easy. We've got 4 pilot-controlled weapons on the port and starboard side of the ship here, which are size 3s and a pair of 2s, and then we have a turret on the top of the ship, which for some reason is not showing up here, which has 2 size 2 weapons. For the size 2 weapons on the turret, I would recommend the CF227 laser repeaters, the Badgers there. And then for the pilot-controlled weapons, I'd recommend the CF337 Panther laser repeaters. Again, if you've seen my videos in the past, you'll know that these are a favorite of mine. They have a good range, they don't overheat too quickly, they have unlimited ammo. It's just really, really easy to use, and they do a good amount of damage at a very solid range. They're also very beginner friendly, so if you're rather new to Star Citizen, this is a pretty much no-frills approach to weaponizing your ship. Now moving on, there is only one more thing left, well technically 2, but let's start with the first, and that is the paint. Now, of course, you can choose different paints here. There are some available, there were actually some available around the February event around Valentine's Day where you could get the red skins, and those ones are really cool. I don't have those. I just have the these ones here, which is the Freelancer Storm Surge as well as the Freelancer Black Livery. These are available online and can be purchased on the RSI store. Of course, it would be nice if we can purchase them in game. If we can, and I've just missed that, please let me know in the description or in the comment section below. The last thing that we need to take a look at, of course, since we've finished setting up our missile racks, is to add all of our missiles. As you can see here, we have 28 size 3 missiles, and this is really the biggest reason that I love this ship so very much. The other is that it's built like a tank. The hull strength is incredibly high, and having 2 nice Sukaran shields there will definitely make this a hard target to kill. If you've ever done bounty hunting missions, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about if you've ever had to go toe-to-toe with one of these ships. Now, that being said, I digress here. We're going to choose the Thunderbolt 3, and there's a good reason for that. The Arrestor 3s do come stock as far as I remember, but Thunderbolts are a little bit better because they don't need to have a direct hit in order to do damage. They can explode close to your target and still do damage, as opposed to an Arrestor 3, which would end up just flying by and completely missing. So that's pretty straightforward. Of course, you can also change this configuration to suit your needs to have size 2 missiles or even size 1 missiles. Just note that you cannot change the proprietary missile launchers, so you can only change the racks that you have under the wings. Thank you so very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please let me know by leaving a like, subscribing if you're new, and ringing the bell so that you never miss a video in the future. Also, make sure to join us on our streams Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 PM Eastern on Twitch, as well as our amazing Discord community, the links for which can be found down below in the description. Again, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye for now.